The alarm screamed through Station Valkyrie's corridors like wounded animals. Analia's fingers flew across the emergency console, her heart hammering against her ribs as the red lights painted her pale face in hellish shadows. Containment breach in Sector 7, she reported, her voice steady despite the ice flooding her veins. The Vraks are loose. Briar burst through the command center doors, his security uniform disheveled, plasma rifle clutched in white-knuckled hands. How many? All of them. Anally IA pulled up the security feeds, and both humans watched in horror as 20 Vraks predators, each standing 9 feet tall, with obsidian scales and rows of serrated teeth, tore through the station's alien crew like tissue paper. The Quillari researchers didn't stand a chance. Their crystalline bodies shattered under massive claws. The insectoid threne barely managed screams before being consumed whole. The evacuation pods? Briar asked, already knowing the answer. Sector 7 is between us and them. Analia's jaw tightened. We're cut off. For 6 months, Station Valkyrie had been home to the galaxy's most ambitious xenobiology project. The Vraks, apex predators from a death world called Nagrath, had been studied, cataloged, and supposedly secured behind triple-redundant containment fields. The galaxy's brightest scientific minds had assured everyone that humans, being newcomers to the galactic community, were overly cautious about the predators. They'd been wrong. Briar moved to the weapons locker, his movements precise despite the chaos. The Galactic Council said Vraks were unstoppable once they started hunting. That entire civilizations evacuated planets rather than face them. Good thing we're not an entire civilization. Anally IA stood, downloading the station schematics to her wrist display. Just 2 very angry humans. Something in her tone made Briar pause. He'd served with Anally IA for 3 years, watched her navigate diplomatic nightmares with grace and solve impossible equations with patience. But there was something different in her eyes now, something ancient and dangerous that reminded him why Earth's predators had learned to fear humanity first. What's the plan? He asked. You're going to think I'm crazy. I already do. Tell me anyway. Anally IA pulled up the environmental controls. The Vraks have better armor than us, better weapons, better everything. But they evolved on a planet with 0.8 Earth gravity and 70% Earth oxygen levels. Understanding dawned on Briar's face. You want to change the playing field. We're going to make them play our game. Her fingers danced across the console. I'm venting oxygen from Sector 7 through Sector 4, increasing gravity to 1.2 Earth standard, and dropping the temperature to 5 degrees Celsius. It won't kill them, but it'll slow them down. Briar checked his rifle's charge. Meanwhile, we're evolved persistence hunters who can regulate our own body temperature. Exactly. Anally IA grabbed a plasma pistol from the locker. The Council species think we're weak because we're not the fastest or strongest. They don't understand that humans are terrifying because we don't stop. They moved through the darkened corridors like ghosts, following the carnage the Vraks had left behind. The environmental changes were already taking effect. Through the security feeds, Anally IA watched the predators slow, their movements becoming sluggish in the increased gravity and thinning oxygen. The first Vraks they encountered was feeding on a fallen Quillari researcher. It turned at their approach, lips pulling back to reveal teeth designed to shear through bone. It lunged, slower than it should have been, but still deadly. Briar didn't waste ammunition. He dodged left, using the creature's momentum against it, and Analia's plasma bolt caught it in the exposed throat. The Vraks crashed down, twitching. 1 down, Briar muttered. 19 to go. They moved deeper into the station, finding Vraks isolated by the environmental changes. Anally IA had routed them into separate sections, turning their pack-hunting advantage into a liability. Each predator they encountered faced 2 humans who understood something the Galactic Council had never grasped, that Earth's deadliest predator wasn't the one with the biggest teeth, that IT was the one who planned. By the time they reached Sector 3, both humans were exhausted. Analia's shoulder burned from a glancing claw strike, and Briar's left arm hung useless from a fracture. But behind them lay 15 dead Vraks, and ahead were only 5 more. The Alpha was waiting for them in the central plaza, its intelligence evident in the way it had positioned itself near the environmental controls, trying to reverse Analia's changes. The 4 remaining Vraks flanked it, still dangerous despite their labored breathing. Any more bright ideas? Briar asked, raising his rifle with his good arm. Anally IA smiled, and it was not a kind expression. Just one. The thing about humans that really scares the galaxy. What's that? We're the only species crazy enough to domesticate other predators. She activated her wrist display, and the station's loading bay doors began to open. And I really hope that shuttle crew ignored protocol. Through the bay doors bounded Ajax and Hela, two massive Earth dogs that the human crew had smuggled aboard months ago. The German shepherds had been trained for security work, their ancestors bred for thousands of years to partner with humans in the hunt. The Vrax Alpha's eyes widened in confusion as the dogs attacked with coordinated precision, going for joints and exposed areas exactly as trained. They weren't trying to kill the predators, they were distracting them, giving Anally IA and Briar clear shots. 10 minutes later, it was over. Anally IA collapsed against the wall, Ajax's massive head in her lap, as Hela sat guard. Briar was already calling for the emergency rescue ships, his voice carrying through the station's damaged communications array. Valkyrie Station to Galactic Council Fleet, he said. Containment breach is resolved. All Vrax neutralized. 2 human crew members alive and securing the station. There was a long pause before the response came, disbelief evident in the translator's voice. Repeat, Valkyrie Station. Did you say 2 humans stopped the Vrax outbreak? Briar looked at Anally IA, who was scratching Ajax behind the ears while Hela licked Briar's injured hand. Both dogs' tails wagged happily, oblivious to the carnage around them. Affirmative, Briar confirmed. 2 humans and 2 very good dogs. When the council investigators arrived, they found the evidence impossible to deny. The reports would be filed, the incident analyzed, and new protocols established. But in the quiet spaces between official documents, a new understanding spread through the galactic community. Humanity wasn't dangerous because they were strong. They were dangerous because they refused to accept that anything was unstoppable. And sometimes, the wrong human to meet was simply the one who refused to run.